Salutations, everyone. It's your boy Shad Talks Graps with Wrestling Republic podcast. We are back. It's Tuesday. Don't mind me if my eyes are still looking red. I cried a lot last night because we got Monday Night Raw to talk about. You know that I want to talk about the big news story that is Big E and the New Day, and we are going to start off with it. But we got a smaller panel today. We got a two-man crew, man. We got Kobe and Shaq. We got Jordan and Pippen. Speaking of the word Jordan, we got Jordy in the bank. What's going on, boss?
Hey, it's nice to be back, man. It's nice to be back. Yeah, last minute drafting, really. I wasn't supposed to be. I was supposed to be on my work Christmas party, but I fell down the stairs on Sunday. But I'm all fine. We're all good. I just couldn't go to Manchester and walk around and go to do activities. But the silver lining meant I could be here to talk about what was probably one of the best episodes of Raw that I can remember in recent months. So many iconic segments, so many big segments. Not that much wrestling, in all fairness. I'll give it that, but I enjoyed it, man, and I'm excited to talk about it. Yeah, good time for a two-man show because I've got plenty to say.
For sure, and without a doubt, man, a lot of people online are saying that this arguably could be Raw of the year, maybe the best Raw since the Mania season, with like everything tied to The Rock and Cody Rhodes. But it's kind of wild. I didn't expect this episode to be so eventful, but I did expect something eventful to happen with the first topic at hand. 10-year anniversary, the New Day celebrating, man. It is absolutely mind-boggling that it's been 10 years, dude. Like, I remember when the New Day's inception kind of happened, right? I remember even Kofi Kingston as a middle school kid in 06 with the Jamaican accent, right? Cool running and all, being in ECW, and obviously Consequence Creed out in TNA, and Big E Langston with as the heavy of the dog, Ziggler and AJ Lee. Like, these three gentlemen came from a crazy bit of a pathway to get to what we have now, arguably one of the best wrestling factions of all time, at least in WWE history. Super accomplished, all the accolades talked about yesterday, all the moments that they had. And obviously, we've talked about it for the last few months, a little bit of this tension between Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, teasing a bit of a breakup. They come out, they say they got something to talk about, and we get Big E, the return of Big E on Monday Night Raw. Not in, still in the suit, but not on the desk doing all the pregame talks like he does on the PLEs and whatnot. And he tells them, he's like, guys, I see the tension that y'all have, and we are brothers. We came in here and we did a lot together, and I can't have y'all, be breaking up, and I want to be the manager for the New Day. And arguably, I stand by this, man. The biggest swerve I have seen in maybe the last 5 to 10 years in professional wrestling. They didn't break up. They stayed united, but they kicked somebody out, and they turned on Big E, man. It was a way of words. It was super emotional, man. Telling Big E that you left us. All these people broke their neck. They came back, but we were here waiting for you. And dude, it was crazy. And we're going to talk a lot about this. I just got to paint what happened. I want to know off the bat, Jordy, what were your thoughts on last night's segment? And then just everything tied to it with the ultimate swerve of the year, possibly?
I mean, yeah, it's up there for sure. I can't disagree with that. It's one of the kind of little things that you didn't see coming one after the other. So Big E came out. I kind of knew Big E was going to show up, but for him to tease us and give us that kind of little bit of like, oh, I will be here week in, week out with you, because that is giving us as fans. That was saying, look, we're going to get weekly Big E content. He's back. New Day are properly back together. And everyone was loving it, man. And then, yeah, they just snatched it away. I genuinely, I didn't see this coming. I look, if you watched even this show last week, you'll have seen me say that I thought it was possible that Xavier was going to attack Big E, but I would never have guessed that Kofi would have kind of joined in. Obviously, it was a verbal attack, but I mean, joined in the attack. And I guess I know some people are saying, "Oh, yeah, it's not with Kofi's character and stuff like that," but what the New Day have been needing for the past few months ever since they've been on the rocks. They've not been singing off the same hymn sheet. They've not been a united front. They've been one's been saying one thing, one's been saying the other. You know, Kofi's been saying we should have gone and helped Jey Uso. He was getting beat up. Xavier's saying no, we shouldn't. And like the whole Rey Mysterio thing, oh no, we should help Rey. No, we shouldn't. Like they've always been saying different things. And for this moment last night, it was like the one thing that unified with them was their grievances towards their friend, their former friend, I guess now. Big up Big E, man. To not have, I know he does the pre-show and stuff like that, but to not have performed live for however long and to come out and put a performance like he did on the mic, like you said, man, I was tearing up. It was, and that was a credit to Biggie, because it looked like it hurt. It looked like he was genuinely going through it. He was seeing two brothers turn against him, and it was rough. Like I've said in our group chat, Shad, the one thing, I mean, I'd even, you know what, I said 9 out of 10. I'd probably even give it a 9.5 out of 10. The one thing I would have liked to have seen would have just been a little bit of physicality, and I don't mean a table spot or anything like that. And even, you know, when Kofi put his hand on Biggie, even if that was just a little more of a shove. But like I say, that is the so nitpicking in what was like a pretty much perfect segment. And what the New Day needed. I'm intrigued now to see what happens from here. Is it, it's been alluded to in the comments, is it because Big E has actually been cleared to return and this is paving the way for that to happen? I don't know, but I think it's going to be beneficial for everyone involved. And I just hope, I hope this new Day go on a hell of a run. But yes, it was great. So
To me, I feel, and I agree with you on a lot of what you just said. This there's a lot to peel back here. So let's get to this one spectrum of it, right? We're talking about the current iteration of Woods, and we're talking about Kofi Kingston. If we're gonna be objective for a moment, we can't say that they have been lighting the world on fire within the last year, right? It feels like they've been a little bit stale. It seems like we've got a lot of rinse and repeat situations in booking, and a lot of it is unfortunate because I'm not blaming them at all. They just haven't given us something with them to have all, like, let us sink our teeth in, and a lot of it does come off of the tragedy that is Big E's injury and being out, because we're used to the 3-man group. But I agree with you. I feel like this ignites a whole, it's like a new character. Like, I know that they were heels when they first debuted as the New Day, but like this may be one of the best heel turns I have ever seen in professional wrestling. Like, I'm on bat to say that this is borderline in the same island as Michaels kicking Marty Jannetty in the barbershop. Great. Like, that's how great I feel of it, just because it came so out of left field, man. And I, like you said, I maybe expected a split up between these two guys, but for them to fall in line and turn on a guy that we all love, the one that we miss every day that we can't see wrestle, it's crazy to me, dude.
And it's just another like obviously they are heels now, so you want to do things that annoys the fans in a kayfabe sense, and the fact that they are now staying together, but Biggie just isn't the manager, and they were gonna break up, and the whole reason Biggie came down was to be like, no, no, don't break up. Look, if this is what it takes, I'll be your manager. I'll come back and we'll run it again. And they've gone, nah. You know what? Get out. We'll just do it together. We don't need you. And it's like, that's just like, it's another dagger in the back to us as fans. It's like, so we could have had that, but now you're just gonna run it together and be bad guys. So
To me, isn't he not? Is he not a manager still? He managed to get them back together in the grand scheme of things, and I feel like that's the Easter egg that I like a lot about it, is because his point is, I don't want to see y'all have any ill will towards each other. I want to get you guys back together. In a way, he got them back together, and maybe not how we wanted it to be, and we didn't get all three of them back together,
yeah.
but he did get his two brothers back together.
I agree, and I think if Big E, fingers crossed, everything crossed, if Big E somehow ever does make his way back towards the ring, I'd love to see him use that in a promo and be literally look like, yeah, you weren't relevant until I came back, and then you kicked me out, and then you were relevant again. Like, it takes me. That's what it is. You know what I mean? And like, obviously, I don't believe that they're all three amazingly talented
Oh
guys,
yeah,
but it would be
have
incredible to
you
be able to
you
use
you
that.
read his Players Tribune piece that he wrote, right? The Don't Be Sour.
No, I don't think so.
Have you read that? Okay, it came out yesterday morning, literally before Raw even aired. But Players Tribune, he wrote a beautiful piece, man. Talked about, a lot of his upbringing, how he got into professional wrestling, like a very like small biography. But he talked a lot about him coming to peace with the fact that he may not be able to wrestle again, right?
Hmm.
And how much he appreciates what the New Day is to him. And it's cool to see that he is in a good place mentally, obviously, as
Yeah.
as a person. And yeah, man, it's whatever Big E is cleared and comes back, I will be the happiest man out there. I love Big E. I
Hmm.
think he's one of the most sensational human beings in pro wrestling, but also an incredible professional wrestler, character, and all that. But man, find a way to get him doing something if I'm the WWE, man. If announcing is in his repertoire, let's lean on that, man. If he wants to be a commentator, like, I really think the guy
I
has
think
so
he'd be a
much
great manager as well. I genuinely
manager
think he'd
too.
be a great manager. Um, Paul Heyman ain't gonna be around forever, man. Like Big E
Nope.
spent however long away from in ring action or being live on Raw, and just came back and delivered that unbelievable performance last night. And it's like, and the fact that he obviously the New Day, but he very much is the power of positivity. So as a manager, it could be his thing that it's like when people are down at the bottom, Big E goes and gets them and brings them back up. You know what I mean? So I agree. But obviously, of course, all this being said, this is how I want him to be used. Biggie do Big E if he's happy doing the PLEs, and is like you say, that's the main thing, especially when you go through something as severe as that. I mean, it's nowhere near the same thing, nowhere near in the same stratosphere. But me recently, I got an injury and found out that I'm not going to be able to wrestle again. It stinks, man. So like,
Yeah.
I can't even imagine to be able to think what it must you've been at the top of the top, and then you get told, oh no, you can't do that anymore. It's like, oh, that
Yeah,
must be
man.
rough.
It's
So
gut wrench. It's gut
whatever
wrenching,
he
bro.
can do to just be happy and yeah, crack on. But I'd look like I completely agree. If they can find a use for him, and if he's willing to do it, and if he wants to do it, because the other thing as well is it can't be easy to be that close to the action and not be able to get involved. Which I think is maybe why he hasn't been as close to the New Day. Because to be stood ringside when there's nothing more that you want to be than be in the ring, that can't
Yeah.
be easy. So yeah, it's tough.
Man, it's definitely something that I'm excited to see what continues, man. They got my attention. And yeah, man, I wouldn't be mad if people said promo of the year, segment of the year, whatever you want to call it. Let's get into the comments, though. We got quite a few, and I know y'all in the WR universe are excited about it. Let's first and foremost go with X Harry 18. When are WWE Road to Mania Europe 25 tickets coming out? I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to show you that comment to see maybe if you knew, because I have no clue.
Honestly, Harry, if you watch this show, like I'll be on pretty much every Tuesday, and as soon as I know, I will tell you, because I'm going to try and go to Raw when it's in Glasgow. But as far as I know, they've not been announced yet. Not even pre-sale has been announced yet. So
For sure, man. Let's see. I don't know if I should put that one because he's got a B word there,
word.
Pax name, but he says Kofi Xavier showed the true colors of the ungrateful Pax moniker. I have a feeling it's a build up to Big E returning to action against Kofi and Xavier with a new partner. That would be interesting. I'm not gonna lie. Before what's his name got in trouble, someone would have saw him possibly being in it, and he got released, Odyssey Jones. So, but I mean that obviously isn't gonna happen. Friend of the show, number one Superfly, saying New Day 10-year segment was brilliant. My only small nitpick was it should have closed the show. It felt like a perfect way to close the show. Now, although you know what, it's difficult. It's difficult because obviously we'll talk about what happens at the main event, because I think that was a big moment. Also, the fans weren't leaving home very happy if that closed out the show. So you also risk that, like, you probably would have people in utter shock, possibly booing, whatever it may be. But it happening in the middle of the show was a little odd. I'm not going to lie to you. And I actually would agree on that nitpick that placement, it should have been a bigger deal off of card placement in a way. But it was so good, I feel like it overpowered anything that I really thought of, just because I think initially I was like, oh, shoot, this is happening at. Matter of fact, I think we said it in the chat last night too. Like, we were like, why is this happening now, right? Like, but
to that point as well, I think that now you've said it, and I agree. But and I've been racking my brain, like, where would have been the perfect place then? Because I agree, closing out the show, it's a little bit heavy. Yeah. Opening the show, maybe, but I've thought of it. Do you know where it probably should have been? It probably should have been at War Games. It should have been a segment at a PLE, I think. Because it's a big deal. It's a 10-year reunion. It makes sense that Big E would have been there anyway. So and then it's like that handshake, and then it's like, right, on to the next title match. Do you know what I mean? And it just brings that level back up.
Yeah. That makes sense.
No, it was incredible. It was a long segment, and perhaps that's why, specifically with War Games, had it been another PLE that isn't like stereotypically one of the longer ones because of the long War Games matches, maybe they would have been like, yeah, we'll put it on a PLE. But I also think timing was perfect. I don't think they could have stretched much longer. Yes. I don't even think maybe to main event they would have struggled to do that. But it was like we say, it is nitpicking. It was fantastic. Really.
Yeah, and let's get one more comment before we get to the next section. We got the homie Arab saying totally unexpected, just brilliant. Now New Day should go on a good run, showing they can do it without Big E. Don't worry, big dog. I'm reading your comments now. You said one saying you just left my comment only. I'm here, bro. Don't worry. Nobody saw this coming earlier. I thought Kevin Owens' heel turn was the best, but this one was just perfect.
Oh yeah, KO was good.
Great comparison too, man. The friendship thing with Jericho, that was a pretty big time one too. So like,
I thought you meant beating up Cody, or like recently.
Rob, comment if which one you're talking about. I'm assuming he's talking about the one where him and Jericho were buddies and before the Mania match. And he turned on him. That was hell of a heel turn. KO is the best bad friend out there. But in this case with Cody, I know we're not talking SmackDown. He's a little justified. So he meant Jericho. He meant that one where he was reading his list, and that joke was really good. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, the whole list thing was just awesome on it. Like, and that was another layer to that.
We're so far away from that, Jericho. It's sad.
Yeah.
But anyways, hi guys, we're at the learning tree. Let's get to the next topic, because this is something that I will have to give credit to the WWE. Obviously, of Wrestling Republic, we put a graphic every week in regards to airtime for women's wrestling. Obviously, women's wrestling has been not getting as much airtime uh, compared to the men. So, we definitely want to be a, avenue for y'all to see statistically where it goes. But last night there were two women's matches. One match I will note, it was a tag team match with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus the Sky Pirates. Raquel wins, gets the pin over Kyrie. Both of these women are in this wonderful women's IC tournament that I will need to pull up and tell you the bracket, because I think we need to kind of break this down a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. But last night, as I look it up, we did have a match, which was one of the bracket matches, and it was a triple threat between Dakota Kai, Shayna Baszler, and the third individual is slipping my mind, man. Slipping my mind.
Me too, man. We're getting old. Who was it? Dakota, Shayna.
Man. What's her name? From the tag team? Casey Catanzaro.
Oh, yeah. Katana Chance.
Katana Chance, right? So they had their match. Fun triple threat match. I'm sorry I forgot her name. That was just a brain fart. I like Katana Chance. She's a very athletic young lady. Great move set. Fun, quick little triple threat match. Dakota Kai gets the win. I think this is an individual a lot of people are beating the drum of. She deserves to be the first inaugural Intercontinental Champion. So she advances. I will tell you the other matches as well, sir. On that same bracket, we got Zoe Stark, Raquel Rodriguez, and Kaden Carter. So the winner of that match will go against Dakota Kai. On the other bracket, this one, which is going to be announced for next Monday, Lyra Valkyria, Zelina Vega, Ivy Nile. Three very small but very talented women facing off. That should be a banger. And then we got Kairi Sane, Natty, and Alba Fire. First, I want to ask you thoughts on the match last night. Everything tied to Dakota Kai winning. Do you think that was the right choice? And talk about that, and then we'll get back and we'll give our predictions of who we think are going to win the IC tournament.
Right, yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Dakota Kai fan. So I, first of all, was very happy that she's back. Very happy to see her in singles action, and very happy that she won. And I completely am one of them people that I mean, there's a few people that I'm saying I want to win. But to be honest, a few of them are in the same starting match, so that's not going to happen. So, but we'll talk about that in a bit. I think I agree. I think it was a good match. I think it was a good display. I always think it's good when you can get a win over Shayna, because Shayna is I feel like a formidable contender within that women's division. She can scrap. And Katana, again, it's one of them things where it's difficult, because I like her and Kaden as a tag team. I think they're one of the most authentic and natural tag teams. They do have chemistry together. We know they've been together for a good while. So I wouldn't say I don't want them to split up or anything like that, but it's great to see Katana get some singles action within a triple threat. I was over the moon to see Dakota Kai win. I did think it was funny that Rhea Ripley came down to help out Damage Control, and Dakota Kai was just sitting backstage yeah, go on, Rhea, you go. I've got a match soon. I've got to get this IC title. Do I think Dakota is gonna win? I don't know, man. I'm gonna need you to come in with me on this one, because they showed a vignette recently, right? Didn't they? And it was very much about taking over, right? So that makes me lean towards quite possibly. But like you said, the bracket is stacked, and I don't know whether she is going to be the person that will end up lifting the title. I hope she does. Hope she does at some point.
So here's the thing, right? There isn't an outlier competitor on this bracket that puts me in fear. So we look at SmackDown. They got their smaller roster compared to Raw. Raw has significantly more women, in which we talked about. I think
Mhm.
off the pod, it makes it seem like the women in this tournament are more mid card level women's wrestlers, right? Like they feel like they should be an IC champ, and that's more for like a person like a Dakota Kai, like a person like a Lyra Valkyria. Um, these are women that are like, okay, I can see them. They're NXT call ups. They're kind of fighting tooth and nail. They're not quite at the level of where like a Rhea or an Io Sky are, or man, even like I'll even put like a Zelina Vega in there as well. Zelina Vega is someone that if Liv Morgan could become the champion, I feel like you could put the battery on Zelina Vega's back and give her an
Mhm.
opportunity to be a world champion. I think she's, comparable to Liv Morgan on the aspect of in-ring ability. And I think she does, given opportunity, just as good as character work as Liv Morgan, where people like Lyra, I'm a big fan of, who's a great NXT champion. I don't know if I want to see her be the world champion just yet, just because I need to see her kind of fight a little bit more up
Mhm.
the totem pole to get there. So it's interesting, man. I don't know, dude. Like the only person that I would feel that could be a potential brick wall is who she would go against in the semifinals, and that would be Raquel. Just because Raquel's character at the moment is supposed to be a imposing heavy, supposed to be a big time threat. My hope is that Rhea kind of messes
About
it
to
up
say
or
that.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And excuse me as my thing is messing up on the back if you hear that noise.
It's all right, man. Don't worry.
um,
I
but
agree.
yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
No, yeah, I agree. I think Rhea's gonna get in Raquel's way at some point. Whether it's in the quarterfinal or the semi-final or the final, however far she gets. But I think the winner of this belt, the inaugural winner, is quite possibly sat within that triple threat match that we see next week. I think Ivy Niles, Alina Vega, and Lyra Valkyria. I think genuinely you could probably put it on any three of them. Dakota Kai as well. And to be honest,
Yeah,
this isn't a discredit to anybody within the whole bracket. You,
Ivy.
you could probably
Ivy
give
is
everyone a go,
so.
but
Ivy is the person that I kind of would. I think you're right. I think the winner in that match should be the champion. If I'm the booker, I think that would probably make the most sense. Lyra and Ivy, most importantly, because I think those two women are kind of people you want to kind of get to that next level. But man, Ivy Nile, American made, kind of having that title. Maybe she should
mhm.
get the US title.
I
But
thought that as well. Yeah, I did think the same thing. That's just unfortunate. But I mean, honestly, for me, like I know I did say the quote. If I had to book it, it probably is just complete personal bias, but I would give it to Zelina. I think an
yeah,
opportunity
a
like
good one.
this, she's the type of she's the type of person, the type of woman on the roster that if this title should have been around for, like, and then Zelina would have had more opportunities to give us more character, which I agree. I think genuinely you give her the ball and she'll run with it. I think at world title level. But I think if this IC title is there a chance for her to show the people in the offices and everyone else who doesn't believe it, if this is her chance to show that, then do it. I do think Zelina's better as a heel. I'll say that. I don't know.
Yeah,
I,
I
I'd,
agree.
I'd love to see her as a heel run as a champ, but while she's tied to Rey Mysterio, that ain't gonna happen. I don't
Nah,
think so.
nice
So it
too.
is what it is. But I would probably say Zelina, and then if not Zelina, yeah, Lyra or Dakota, because like I say, Zelina and Lyra were the two that I would choose, but they're in the match together in that first bracket. So after that, yeah, I'm kind of back in one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm biased, man. I kind of want to pick Kyrie Sane just because I'm probably the biggest fan of her, but I don't know if she's gonna get it. Just how she's been booked thus far. Um, I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with my NXT girly, man. I'm gonna go with Lyra. I think they booked her so well in that Queen of the Ring tournament. She had the match versus Io, that was a banger. She had the match in the finals versus Nia Jax, who's our world champion, and she went the distance with her. I think Lyra deserves it. I think they need to start making more
Let's
next
hope
level
Ivy doesn't
stars.
win next week, then, bro. Otherwise, our picks are both gone.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We are both we're picking against the grain on those two, and Ivy now can completely just burst our bracket. But I'm not gonna Dakota Kai. I have no issue winning
Yeah,
as
same.
well.
Same.
I think she's incredible.
Again,
I think
adding the belt to damage control, like you said, it's a great thing. I think to be
man,
able to add a belt to a
but
faction
the
that's still
thing
got
is
two to
the
compete
thing
for
with
tags.
Dakota is that Dakota is also like Zelina. She's better served as a heel. Like she's a
Mhm.
better heel than she is a babyface. So
And
we'll
she's
have
from New
to.
Zealand. She's from another continent. I know that's something all ever
Oh
so
yeah,
little with an intercontinental title, but you know,
yeah. She is from New Zealand. She's also Samoan descent too. So the bloodline somehow wins again. Throwing the ones up, but man,
yeah.
let's let's take a quick intermission because I want to talk about something that is near dear to our heart here at Wrestling Republic, and that is the good people at not that sorry Progress Wrestling, man. Progress Demand Plus. If you use the code Watch Progress, you get 50% off your first month of Demand Progress Plus, the home of Progress, Defy, and more. I don't know if you guys are in tune to the independent wrestling scene at the moment, but Progress is hot commodity right now, man. They've had a lot of big cards. Defy had a big card last week where you see a lot of people from NXT, from the NXT pool or WWE ID pool wrestling on it. You had world champions out in the UK. You had people like Mustafa Ali wrestle and whatnot. Like they got a lot of heavy hitters, and then you get a library of a lot of old of your favorites, man. The Will Ospreys, the Tyler Bates, the Finn Balor's, all of them, man. They all wrestled over there, so it's super cheap. It's great wrestling content. I highly recommend. Yeah, man, keep rocking with them, and of course, keep rocking with us. More importantly, because we got to get to the next topic. And speaking of Finn Balor, it's looking like him and another guy who I believe wrestled on Progress, Gunther, had a little bit of an interaction. Obviously, last night, Finn Balor is kind of going all over the place, Jordy. I ain't gonna front, bro. He was kind of like talking crazy to his faction mates, talking down to Dirty Dom, having Liv kind of puzzled, like, why are you still messing with Priest? He has this vendetta where he doesn't want Priest to succeed. A bit of a continuation, obviously, of their feud from what happened this past weekend at Survivor Series. And he tells Gunther, why are you mad that I helped you? If it wasn't for me, you still wouldn't be champion. Now I deserve the title shot versus you. Gunther's like, no, I didn't need your help. A matter of fact, your man's Dirty Dominic Mysterio has been winning. I want to go against him. Dirty Dom and Gunther have a little bit of a match, decent TV match. Gunther pulls out with the victory, and Finn Balor comes out and he coup de graces him to an oblivion. He was spamming that move like five. Everyone's saying keep doing another one or whatnot, and it's announced Saturday night main event: Finn Balor versus Gunther. I will say I'm glad Adam Pearce kind of acknowledged that he needs to also defend them tag team titles. It's kind of like a little running bit that we know that they don't defend them, but like they're also making a joke about it too, and it's just kind of like, all right, bro, like, but why don't you like have them wrestle more? But we're getting Balor, we're getting Gunther. I'm excited for the match. These guys are both phenomenal in-ring wrestlers, but I can't say I'm loving the storyline. I'm curious to say hear what you got to say about it, though.
Um, no, yeah, I agree. Finn's moving mad. I don't know what he's playing at, but there is a pattern to it because what he seems to be doing is feeding Dom to the lions, and then picking up the scraps. Do you know what I mean? So like he did it with the War Raiders, but it was JD and no, Dom and Carlito that time, and obviously the War Raiders won, and then after the match, Finn and JD came and they got the advantage. and I'm pretty sure he knew what he was doing last night, and always had that in mind to try and get one up on Gunther. It's like it says in the comments. It's not that I'm not interested in this match. I think it will be great, but Damien should interrupt. Damien should cost Finn the match, and it's just a little bit predictable if they do it as simple as that. So whether they make some kind of variation on it, I don't know. Or like Damien will have to put Finn through a table or something. I genuinely have no idea how they can make an interference in this match that people didn't see coming. Because I'll hold my hands up, like I genuinely didn't think Finn was going to interfere in Damien versus Gunther 2. That I thought that was dead and buried. I wouldn't say I was annoyed. It was quite like, all right, what's next? Because I know these two can put on not a better match than what they did, but a bigger spectacle than what they did when they finally got to face each other. Like, I think it needs a stipulation. I thought it needed a stipulation. Like, there's two people who considered each other brothers and like they've completely turned on each other. Like, that's more than just a singles match for me. So if we are building to a bigger spectacle of a match, a bigger payoff for Damien and Finn, then so be it. I don't think there's going to be a title involved, though, sadly. If Finn was to win a Saturday night main event and take that belt off Gunther,
Oh man,
that would shock me big time.
I don't see that happening. I don't think Finn
No.
is the guy. I actually think this is what's gonna happen. If Balor is next for Gunther, Damien is definitely gonna screw Finn the same exact way Finn screwed Damien back at both SummerSlam and Survivor Series. It's definitely a continuation. Maybe we get some iteration of the Demon back. I don't know. Is that even of people's interest anymore? I feel like the
He has
Demon
to
is
win
lost.
though. Yeah, like I can't see
Well,
Demon lose again.
no, the moment the Demon lost to Roman the way he did that one match from the ropes, I think I've lost all interest in that character in all actuality. But it's interesting to say because I just want to see Priest. Priest don't need to be in the title picture. That's fine. But like, I don't want to only see him tied to the hip to Judgment Day
Yeah.
fuse. Like, and we talked about it even yesterday too. We said and we're gonna get to the next topic in a second. The main event scene is loaded, super loaded, and it's loaded to a point where like you have feuds that don't even need to be for titles, and those can be matches on pay per views or main event Monday Night Raw, whatever the case may be. He's confused with some of these people that we're talking about. You know, he doesn't need to line to that. Or, you know, I don't even consider it a step back down. You know, maybe even being a competitor for like a Braun Breaker or somebody like that. Like, you know, more fresh matchups that us as fans want to see. We don't want to see him continuously just beef with the Judgment Day and all of that. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But let's get to the last topic, which was I'm gonna have to streamline this from what started the show to what ended the show. So basically, last night we started the show off CM Punk coming out, cutting a promo, and he is interrupted by Seth freaking Rollins. Punk noting that, you know, prior to it, that he is ready to accomplish all the accomplishments, man. And I'm assuming he's alluding to winning gold, winning maybe Rumbles, winning Manias. He still got the Paul Heyman favor in his pocket. And Seth is just not messing with Punk. He is holding a vendetta versus Punk. You know, wants to get in a little bit of an altercation with him. You saw Punk throw those weak throws, which is why Dana White was like, nah, bro, you can't be in the UFC no more, probably. But we get Sami Zayn and we get Jey Uso, and we get a beautiful back and forth between these guys where Seth is really holding a big time grudge with all of these individuals because they are basically hanging with his ops. Roman Reigns, CM Punk tell Sammy, you and I, man, we came up together from the independence to where we are now. I feel like you did me dirty. And Sammy telling him, you created the monster that is Roman Reigns when you turned on him with the shield. But Seth also dishing that you created a monster, also a Roman Reigns from everything that you did with the bloodline. This leads to a match between these two where we, in the match prior to it, we see Jey Uso getting jumped backstage and Sammy getting the chair, thinking of hitting Seth, and Seth telling him it wasn't me. You get a schoolboy roll up. Sammy wasn't on his game. Seth wins the match. After the match, we find out who must have jumped Jey Uso, because it is a returning Drew McIntyre hitting Sami Zayn with a Claymore. And I gotta say this, man. This entire situation is beautifully booked because it is a art when you can intertwine 4 to 5 individuals and 4 to 5 storylines and kind of get them all synced in together, because Sammy feuding with Seth makes sense because Seth got beef with Roman and Punk, and we still got the beef between Roman and Punk, but then Punk and Roman got beef. But then Jey Uso is also tied to all of this because he's part of the bloodline, and he still has his issues with Roman Reigns, and he can't necessarily trust everybody. And, him and Sami Zayn, like, there's so much happening, and Drew McIntyre is just with the hoodie, looking like evil Kermit and saying, "I hate all of you guys. I don't like anybody, and I am going to get vengeance on all of y'all, and mostly Sammy and them, because y'all are teaming with the biggest person I hate, and that is CM Punk." I thought it was great, man. I think the opening segment was just incredible. The main event was cool, and then Drew returning was a very, very nice return, coming back from his match with Punk, potential match of the year. I want to know your thoughts just on everything in totality, man. I'm gonna let you take us home with this after the comments. After you're done too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like you say. I mean, we were talking about the New Day segment being segment of the year. I mean, this one, I don't know where it starts and where it ends, but this segment with Punk, what he was saying, like even like the pointing at the imaginary sign, I loved that. I thought that was a great little decision from him. And then for Seth to come down, anytime we see Seth and Punk in the ring together, for the past year, in fact, literally the past year, since last year at War Games, when we saw Seth's reaction, it's just like you just know, you can feel the tension in the room. And they're so good at selling it. They're so good. Like, I know people are saying about the punch that CM Punk was throwing, and it wasn't a good UFC punch, but I think genuinely, I think that was a decision that he made. I think he was like, I'm gonna throw a more realistic looking punch here, even if it looks weaker, to make it look like this thing between me and Seth is a real fight. And not that you need to really sell that any more than they already do, but I thought that was great. Then seeing Seth just kind of lose it a bit, bring up Roman to Jey was out of line, really. And then Sammy to turn around and say, "You don't speak to Jey Uso like that." Like, that warmed everyone's heart. Do you know what I mean? It was just, there was so many good bits, and then they turned on each other, both with very valid points. And when both people have got pretty valid points, that's when it makes an interesting argument, because that's when it becomes divisive. That's when people start to take different sides with two people that, like, we very much loved, and it was like unanimous that we loved both of these two. But I think obviously we're heading towards a Seth Rollins heel turn, because, like you say, even Drew came back, whatever. I think what happened last night in the ring when Sammy said to Seth, I know it was you that attacked Jey. Seth was like, "Have you even asked CM Punk yet?" And I rightly so. Look, like, CM Punk's being a good guy right now, but I wouldn't have put it past CM Punk. I think I even said it in the chat when we were talking about it as we were watching it, to kind of be like, this could be a Punk move to kind of like turn everyone against each other in an absolute genius play. Obviously, it didn't turn out to be the case, but if you're Seth, that damage is already done. Like, Sammy doesn't trust him. And Sammy not only doesn't trust Seth, Sammy trusts CM Punk more than he trusts Seth, which he's not going to take well to that when he gets a little second to actually think about what transpired there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like you say, for Drew to just come back and just start kicking people, I don't know who he aligns with, if anyone. I just think he's out for himself. And you've got all these people, again, like we said before, that you could quite frankly strap the world heavyweight title to. That caliber of superstar, whether you're talking about Jay, Sammy, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, all of them are champions. And they somehow got them involved in this kind of feud where like we don't
It's like a
even really know what's
vortex.
going on, but it's in the best way. So yeah, credit to them.
When is the Elimination Chamber? Because I feel like this could be a crazy setup to a big time Elimination Chamber
March,
match.
like March, mid March,
Okay,
maybe. So Royal
so
Rumble is 1st of Feb.
and then
Um,
after that, yeah, this could very well be a way to get an Elimination Chamber match set. To your point, and this is why I feel bad for Gunther, because it kind of goes back to it. Gunther's feud with whoever he goes against is going to feel secondary to anything that is happening on Raw. Because anything that's tied to Sammy right now, because he's white hot post Survivor Series with the bloodline.
so
Jey Uso, white hot. Drew McIntyre, big time superstar. Seth Rollins, big time superstar. And then CM Punk, another big time superstar. So you got 5 guys that are big time superstars who are not feuding with Gunther. Where Gunther has to go against a Finn Balor or a Damian Priest.
is he stalling for Cena? Is that what's happening?
He deserves the reward if that's the case, man. Because at this point, Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship reign has been not bad. Now, let me not put that out there. I don't want people to think it's bad. But when you're talking about the IC title reign that he had compared to what it is now, it's a little night and day. You're talking about an iconic reign to a more lukewarm reign. And I'm not blaming it. I'm not saying this one needs to be iconic too. But it feels like the booking for him thus far has kind of felt a continuation of more of a, okay, so whatever, he's a champ. Like I felt like the belt was supposed to take him to that next level of
That's why I
star
think these
power.
crown jewel matches are just not good, because I know they're leaning
No, he
into it
took a
and they're
big loss. He took
saying
a big loss to Cody.
it's because of, it's because, and like they're using it in the storyline, and he's saying himself, yeah, after the loss to Cody, it kind of knocked my confidence. But like, it's just not how I want to see Gunther. And you're right, and like people who watch this show, you Shad, you know how much of a Damian Priest fan I am. I absolutely love the guy. I've got so much time for him. I think he should be a champion. But if you're Gunther and you see Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, White Hot, all these people, and it's like, oh, now, yeah, we're giving you Damian again. You'd be like, can I not just,
What the heck, man?
one of them guys just for a little bit, and then we'll come back and we'll do
Yeah,
Damian again in a little bit? Because
he deserves an opponent of a magnitude, like an actual long lasting feud. Like him and Seth could be a good long lasting feud.
Randy
That
was
could be
good.
the Randy one was good, and I'll give him that one. I'm not saying it's, but even with that, man, it was towards playing back off of something that
Off of
happened
a
in
mistake, yeah.
a mistake and whatnot. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm not saying it's doomsday for Gunther. I just thought it was an interesting observation within how everything started and ended the show. And like we always know, man, the main thing is how you start and how you finish. And the same guys were all incorporated in that segment. So, but that is all the time we have for today, man. This has been an incredible episode. Thank you guys in the comments for commenting, watching on X, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, all of that jazz. We are back same time tomorrow, 8 p.m. UK, 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. And if you're not doing anything tonight, 10:15 right after NXT is done, myself, Clark, and Drizzy will be live for NXT Off the Air. We'll be reviewing tonight's episode of NXT. So, yeah, come hang out with us. Jordy, always a pleasure, brother. You take care. In the words of Main event, Jey Uso, Deuces, Ooses.